Part 4 of Sunnah of the Prophet. We have identified 6 major errors which all occurred because of a single wrong interpretation of a verse in the book. In dealing with these errors, we quote the verse first, highlight the mistakes, and then introduce our own reading of the text. 1. The belief that Muhammad's words were inspired by God and he, Muhammad, does not talk yantiq capriciously. It is only a revelation, wahyun, being revealed, yawha. Surah Al-Najm 53, verse 3 and 4. It was thought that the two verses equate what Muhammad said, yantiq, with divine revelation, wahy. This led to the erroneous view that the Qur'an and the Sunnah are two categories of revealed or inspired words. It has been overlooked that Al-Najm, Surah Al-Najm 53, verse 3 and 4, were revealed in Mecca at a time when Muhammad was confronted by strong opposition from the Ahl Quraish. They had questioned the validity of Muhammad's claim to have received revelation from God. They did not question Muhammad's own word, but only what he presented as divine revelation. Verses 3 and 4 were revealed as an assurance of the divine origin of his revelation from God, not an assurance of the sacredity of Muhammad's saying as prophet and human being. The following explanation, a short clarification, is in order here to tackle the faithful legacy of synonymist philosophy that holds the mind of the scholars, ulama, in a firm grip. Again, that we hold the non-synonymous definitions of philological terms such as utterance, nataka, word, qawl, lexem, lafz, and speech, act, kalam, that we derive from modern linguistics and classical non-synonymous philosophy. We start with a quote. A word, kalima, is an utterance that can be found either alone or in a compound. A word, qawl, consists of a lexem, lafz, that carries meaning, but not all lexems are words. Lexems involve vocal sounds that are based on the letters of the alphabet. They may mean something or not. Thus, a word consists of a lexem, denoting a specific meaning that might have derived from one single sentence, such as, nay, this is a word he is speaking. A word given that it consists of a lexem that carries meaning can occur singly, such as Zayd, servant, bed, etc. But it might form a compound if it consists of more than just one lexem, such as the young boy Zayd. See verse 3 of Surah Muhammad. This Allah coins their similitudes for mankind. End of quote. An utterance, nutq, is a vocal articulation that involves an intelligent connection of different lexems, alfaz, to the extent that they are logically and meaningfully linked to each other. We might also call this the area of syntax. An utterance, nutq, is also used to produce meaningful articulations through which logically and meaningfully words, kalimat, are interconnected in different ways. We may call this the area of grammar. The lexem, lafz, of an utterance is a sound which the tongue, lips, and vocal cords produce in order to be heard. This can be found with humans as well as animals when dogs bark, wolves howl, or birds sing. A word, qawl, in contrast, could hold only one singular segment or unit of this sequence of vocal articulation. A word, qawl, contains the meaning that is transported from the speaker to the listener in order to be understood. The difference is here made between the words qawl Allah and nataka an-nabi, which are not just two words for saying, but denote different meanings. Whereas qala Allah denotes the real speaker and communicator of a meaningful sentence. Nataka Nabi denotes Muhammad's utterance, an example, a meaningful and coherent transmission of Allah's words. The former qala relates to saying, whereas the later nataka refers to the pronouncement of what has been said. That the book does not employ qala when it refers to Muhammad saying is significant. It points to the impossibility of Muhammad saying revelations, contrary to what the verse of Al-Najm might suggest, because he can only pronounce them. Suppose we accept synonymity. It would mean that the verb nataka, an example to pronounce, has the same meaning as qala, an example to speak. In this case, the saying of God's messenger, nataka al-Rasul, would enjoy the status of a divine revelation as an qala Allah. This would imply that the prophetic hadiths enjoy divine protection, that they are free of ambiguity and obscured meaning, that they need to be preserved literally bil lafz and not just in the terms of their meaning, and that no distinction can be made between the utterance of Muhammad as a prophet and his utterance as messenger of Allah. Against all of this, we raise the following objection. The only book that legitimately contained the phrases qala Allah and nataka Rasulullah in the book. The phrase qala Muhammad in the books of hadith must not be understood as equal to qala Allah in the book, even if these hadiths were transmitted by uninterrupted chains of transmitters that go back to the Prophet. 2. The second error concerns the belief that Muhammad's acts and deeds are sacrosanct, that is, unblemished by mistake and hence infallible. This view can easily be rejected by reading the following verse of Surah Abasa, in which Allah unambiguously reprimands Muhammad and concedes his fallibility. The verse says, "He frowned and turned away when the blind man came to him. For all you know, he might have grown in spirit or taken note of something useful to him." Surah Abasa 80, verse 1 to 4. This is a clear rebuke by God, because Muhammad was so impertinent to have turned away from Ibn Maktoum, an old blind beggar, in order to address instead the notables of Quraish and the hope that they would accept his call and convert to Islam. Criticizing such snobbishness, Allah asked Muhammad to change his attitude and turn back to the beggar, for the old man might spiritually benefit enormously from the Prophet's attention. In the following verse, we hear another rebuke of Muhammad's action. "Prophet, why do you prohibit what God has made lawful to you in your desire to please your wives? Yet God is forgiving and merciful." Surah At-Tahrim 66, verse 1. And another time, "It is not fitting for an apostle that he should have prisoners of war until he has thoroughly subdued the land. You look for the temporal goods of this world, but God looks to the hereafter, and God is exalted in might wise." Al-Anfal 8, verse 67. We will follow up next. Thank you for following part 4, and we would like to hear your thoughts. Part 5 from Sunnah of the Prophet will follow. And thank you.